So here we have phone calling app, and to start with I will drop some tables initially to show. Here I have calls table. I'm going to drop it. Drop calls, drop table events, event types, and drop table events. It's just to demonstrate that those tables are empty. Table doesn't exist, and the purpose of it is to demonstrate that they are initialized on the startup of the application. So I'm starting this one. Everything is running, and let's start it. And here we see that there are some data, and if I'm doing the query, here we have as well some data in a table. So what do we have here? We have here a possibility to change amount of data shown on each page, and to choose different pages with previous and next buttons as well. And if we have the last page, we don't have next button, and if we have the first page, we don't have previous button. Also, we can show 25 items on a page, and also this one is to show the main page. Also, there are links for opening so-called different page for a call. So the call made from caller with number, this one here we see as well, this number. And for example, let's see some smaller call. For example, this one, which didn't have any receiver. If I press here, this call is considered as cancelled. What else? Here we can also sort, for example, by timestamp. Here we see that this is ascending right now, so the first one is made on 2020 at 9 o'clock basically. If I press here again, we see that this is changed to descending, and the first call is made on 10:10. But as long as this is not the first page, this is not very representative, so let's try it again. If I'm clicking timestamp, the first call is made on the 1st December and again on 15th December if the sorting is descending. The same is with receiver, event, and caller. But the thing is that with this filtering, also, yes, filtering, I had a problem with filtering because I haven't found a way to make this work correctly on front end. So if I'm trying to filter caller by 3 and, for example, receiver by 3, only one gets filtered. But if I change here the URL, both are filtered correctly. And as well, they don't play together with page sizes, for example. If I'm trying to show 25 items, the size is changed, yes, but filters aren't changed. So I have to edit this URL manually, and then this is changed and shown correctly. For example, color, let it be 321, and if we have 25 page size set, here are not 25 but less. For example, receiver, right, not receiver, let's add one more filter for events. Events will be, for example, starting from P, and then we see only pick up events, event types. So the issue is that for front-end I struggled too long to find a way to make it work together, and I've decided not to put all eggs in this basket and just realize this one on backend. So on backend this works, on frontend no buttons for that. And again, here we can press on any color number and a separate page will be opened. And yes, this use case isn't done, but it's quite typical from the code perspective. I have here a record model, which isn't a table in database. Call, event, and event type models are tables, but record isn't. Record is represents this data. Let's name it like this. So every row in this table is record, one single record, and record object. And if I would make this page as well, here the issue is that I have to make a timestamp separately, talk duration, receiver, and type. For that, this record object isn't suitable. So if I would, if I had to implement this page as well, I would create one more model. For example, call or all calls record, and there would be different fields for that call. For example, timestamp would be, for example, string, doesn't matter. Talk duration would be, for example, as well string. Receiver would be integer, and type something else, for example, string as well. And everything I would need to do for this would be creating a new SQL query to create, and one more mapper. So here I have a record mapper, which is needed for creating a record object from response I received from database. So here is my SQL query for getting all the data I need for this original table. So here I'm selecting calls ID. ID is needed for sorting, but I'm not showing this in this table. Then color, which is this. Then event type's name is this one, this column. Receiver is this column, the third one. Then record date is timestamp, and that's it. And more info is just column for these links. And then I am selecting those fields from tables, events, calls, and event types, so from 3 tables. And I'm doing it by call ID from events and calls tables, and by event type from events table and from event types table. And for filtering, I have here some more additions for this query, which is modified here in compose query method. So if any caller or receiver or event filter is created, I am modifying this original query by adding those query chunks. That's it. And what's interesting here more? Yes, and for this page for all calls, I would need to create a different service and one more mapper for all calls record, for example, and create one more query. And basically that's it, nothing difficult here. So that's it. And the last functionality I have is exporting. So if I have, for example, something, yes, exporting. With exporting, there is the same issue that it's not, this button can't can take all the filterings and so on, and it just gets this filtering by default, made by default. And here we have CSV file. But if I have URL with all filterings and so on, and I just change URL for export and then these parameters, then this one starts with numbers 3 to 1 and so on, but the original table starts with 890. So here, if I export this one, I'm getting a file which starts with 3 to 1 and so on. So this one is filtered. So what's shown here, so you just can't use this button, but you should use the URL. So here are all those records filtered like as we want. So basically that's it.